Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the AEL University League Season 2 for round number 4. I'm Proto, joined here tonight by Mendirx, the man himself. How you going, Mendirx? Welcome to the desk.
Doing well, mate, doing well. Looking forward for tonight. Some high-octane action, clutch frags, epic plays. What else can you want?
100%. And also, very quickly before we get into things, we'd like to thank our sponsors. AOC, the best viewing experience, Chatime, fresh iced bubble tea, Indomie, and Rig as well. All things food and gameplay-wise. It's going to be gameplay here tonight, though. Very, very interesting to see. We do have a very good matchup here from Group C. Swinister, a.k.a. Swinburne, versus the Penguins from Melbourne. And I'm definitely interested to see how this goes tonight. Mendirx, what are your thoughts going into this, obviously, for the two teams that you've seen so far? What are you thinking?
Right now, I still feel it's a bit of a gut check for both these teams moving into the competition. Right now, we do know that Swinister is a little bit up there in terms of this points right now. So if we're looking to sort of nail down who's got a good chance of actually taking this out, my money would be on them. On the other side, flip side of things, UniMelb and Penguins could take advantage of the fact that the meta is sort of shifting now away from those throwables and now moving towards more towards utility operators. So if they're able to capitalize on that chance, that might be their way to bring themselves back up here.
100%. And speaking of the teams, I believe we're going to be having a look at the individual rosters here tonight. Just got to confirm which one that is first. Oh, wait, sorry. No, but we do have the teams. I do have the rosters here. So for Swinburne, I believe we've got a couple of interesting players. Obviously, Peepo from the Women's League, notable player for them tonight. Also Goofed. So very, very big names for Swinburne, but that's obviously why we're going to see them at the top of those seeds. So
exactly.
From Swinister going up against Melbourne, who are obviously going to be the 5th seed at the moment. Obviously, no wins for them just yet. Could look to change that tonight, though, in this matchup, which is going to be obviously the big question. Can they walk away with this victory? I mean, we do have some interesting maps lined up for tonight, and here are the map picks, ladies and gentlemen, coming up right now. A band from Villa, Consulate Coastline, is going to be picked out there by the Penguins, and Cafe for our second in this best of 2 series. What are you thinking, Mendirx, in terms of the maps? How do you think that it's going to go tonight based on these map picks?
So right off the bat, we can really see, especially on Coastline, we know that Swinister will be opening up with the attack on that. It basically shows how confident they are moving into this match, how they're going to actually go up against them, or up against Penguins in this particular sense of it. So I reckon we're probably expecting to see probably a little bit of a shaky start from the UniMelb Penguins, purely because, again, we know we've got some big names in Swinister. They've already up there in terms of that score line. That means they can have a little bit of extra, freedom, a little bit of extra maneuverability around in terms of how they want to play the maps. I feel once the University of Melbourne Penguins do decide to get their own swing of things going, basically shake off those starting nerves, things will start to heat up a little bit, and then we'll have a much more competitive match. But I'm expecting the first 2 games probably really the first 2 rounds to go the way of Swinister.
Especially on Coastline, which is, I believe, going to be our first map for tonight. Really, really attacker favoured, especially with the current meta. It's going to come down to bans as well. It could end up being the difference of this game, because roaming on Coastline at the moment is quite difficult. But we're going to see if they can pull it off. I mean, it is going to be an interesting prospect, as I said, depending on bans, depending on how they choose to play it, whether it's very aggressive or very passive. But we are ready to jump on into this first matchup, ladies and gentlemen. Let's kick things off here on sunny Coastline. Again, Mendirx, let's get keen. Who are you thinking for these maps? What are your predictions for the first and second? I'm personally thinking we might see Swinister walk away with Coast, and then maybe something a little bit more reformed on Cafe. We could see Melbourne walk away with it. What are you thinking?
Because they'll be the ones opening up with the attack in that sense. I reckon when they're able to do that, they'll definitely have more of capabilities, again, being warmed up in the previous map. So as I said before, that it comes down to the idea of experience playing out pretty effectively. It always helps out the more experienced teams when it comes to those starting rounds, because, again, they're able to shake off those nerves a bit quicker in comparison. And then on the flip side, when the players are warmed up, they're actually back into the swing of things. They realize, hey, these guys can bleed. It's just not a matter of them being that much better than us. Then they can actually find a little bit of their own footing. I'd like to see, in terms of those bands coming across, we can already see that it's going to be Thatcher right off the back as well. So again, it's going to be a bit more difficult to see. I'm expecting, probably going to be the Thatcher. We could probably see like Ace Habana also get thrown away, maybe a bit of Pulse as well. A number of bans could possibly come out. So interested to see what these guys do decide to take off to the board. And Jackal off the board means, one of the roamers pretty much knocked out straight away as well.
Yeah, roam clear, banning out that Jackal, especially for Swinister on the attack, is going to make their second half a lot easier, opening up their roam game that little bit more. Obviously, Jackal hinders that roam. Mirror as well, a pretty standard ban. So the double Spaniard to come out here for Coastline. Nothing out of the ordinary, though. We do see that pretty regularly on Coastline. And final defense here from the Penguins could be a Valkyrie. Definitely a ban that we could see banned out, especially on a map like Coastline, where she is very, very strong. But you could see some other operators. I'm interested to see what they are going to ban. What are they going to ban? It is going to be the Valkyrie. So all of that information she brings no longer available for this matchup. And those are the bans, ladies and gentlemen. Thatcher, the double Spaniard, and Valkyrie. To say the least, pretty standard bans for Coastline. Nothing out of the ordinary there. So straightforward for there. It's going to be where UniMelb choose to kick things off. Is it going to be that top floor? Is it going to be tertiary double bar? Is it going to be kitchen? It's going to be hookah, though. Pretty normal start. And to say the least, we already see a line coming out here from Swinister on Coastline. Line can be very scary. And the Monty as well. Holy, this is looking like an interesting lineup to start us off.
Yeah, there'll be some interesting picks there as well. I mean, like specifically looking at that, Ash, how do you reckon that that's going to line up for Swinister on the attack, picking this particular operator?
Ash is going to bring, I think, the soft breach that is not being bought in terms of a sledge or a buck. She's definitely going to be that backup soft breach character, due to the fact that she does have both her breaching gadget and breaching charges. Whether or not Marshmallow is actually bringing those breaching charges, which I believe he is up there on the top right. We can see the utility being bought. So he has sort of filled the shoes of... In terms of balcony, they haven't really made their way in yet, though. People is just sort of waiting for some information. The roam is doing its job, though. They do still have 90 control in their hands, and they're looking to possibly take the first pick here. It's just going to be when Swinister choose to push on into the building.
Yeah, definitely a slower start than we were expecting from our university teams off the back here. We can see that Ward is being chipped down just a little bit on the side there, or number 33, whoever you like to give him the name to, is hoping a little bit of damage as it come around. There we do find the first kill coming right off the back there. It's going to be Noobmaster falling down as well. A bit of pre-firing on the shot here as well from Goof, just to keep on holding down this line, and that means there's going to be a little bit more of extra damage coming across. As we can see here, it's going to start to hit up a little bit more, as now Swinister's managed to take out an extra 2 members down with that 1 extra man advantage, and there's still full HP across the board for their whole team, so things looking good for Swinister.
And with Pew finding himself a second ice cold falls, the first smoke grenade from Ed to come out here. Pew has taken a little bit of damage on the cross. They're trying to deny the plan, but Goofed is all the way in, finds himself 2 to finish off the round, and Swins to start things off quite spectacularly with a flawless round. The bomb was going down as well, so we could have seen a plant there, but 1 off the back of kills. Goofed for 3 to close out the round for Swinster.
And this is what we expected. We know Swinister is up there in terms of having that extra, having a bit of extra star power in their talent line, what they brought to the team. And also at the same time, again, it was a bit of that slow start, just sort of feeling out their opponents. And as soon as they found that opportunity to strike, it was explosive, running straight into it, basically had everything done and cleaned up in the space of 30 seconds once the action started.
Yeah, goofed on the entry there. Really just spearhead straight into that site from over by luggage. I mean, really well cleared out by him specifically. I mean, utility usage as well was awesome from his part. Obviously, the Yana cloning in, we saw him droning through towards that bar, dedicated that side was largely clear, which is usually unusual to see. We do see some players either playing behind the bar, maybe at the back of Aqua, inside of luggage. I mean, we did have the 90 roamer that was taken down very early, but still, usually we see a player rotated in there. So UniMelb did really forfeit a lot of that Aqua control to Swinister quite early, which was ultimately what sort of costed them in the end there. They just sort of walked right on in and cleaned up frags. You can see it. We did see it indeed. At the end of that round, Goofed, obviously, and Pew just sort of really cleaning up. And as well, the Glaz doing a lot of work from not Ruins, which again is not usually where we see Glaz playing. But I mean, Pew definitely did really well, given the position that he was in, to pick up those frags. But Swinister, as we have already alluded to, second seed as opposed to fifth from Penguins, definitely looking to make this game another win to add to the board. Currently 2-1 in terms of draws, no losses for Swinister. Penguins still yet, as I said, to find their first win, but they are definitely looking to fight back. They still haven't found themselves a frag, so they're going to be looking to get one here, possibly very early on in the second.
Well, it seems to be the same sort of approach coming through again from Swinister. You can see Goof just holding that particular entry point from the side there as everyone else begins to make their way through to the roof and then look for a deep flow from down below us again. And really just like that, you know, if it's not fixed, if it's not broken, why fix it? Like, you might as well just go down the same approach again, see if perhaps the team is prepared for the same result, and see if it ends up giving you the same thing. If you can get some quick wins without giving away too much, you can continue to deploy different strategies in the future that no one sees or gets the opportunity to check out.
There you go. Marshmallow finds Fresh. Again, the opening pick going in favor of Swinister. Whether or not that Rook was actually roaming or if he was lurking, I should say, close to maybe towards Vase. But there, another one for Goof to find himself his fourth. And Ward falls. Again, very early, we see Melbourne here on the two-man down deficit. Goofed again, finding another one for his second in this round alone. 2v5 with also now Ed being taken down by Pew. He's going to rappel on in, but there we go. The first frag in favor of Melbourne goes to Noob. But Peepo's there to find the trade. And again, Swinister very quickly off the back, I would say, of Goof's entry, find themselves another round.
And when you look at it, him repelling in there, you say, wow, that was bold. Well, when you basically have 4 members to 1 or 5 members to 1, you might as well happily throw away that initial sacrifice and bring in the members afterwards. Because as soon as he was able to take him out, he was basically easy pickings, giving away his position. So really well done there by Swinister once again. But like you said, it seems to be Goofed on that spearhead once again. Just seems to be unstoppable when he begins that attack. From there, puts the rest of the Penguins onto a bit of disarray, a little bit of a flustering, you guess you could say, probably just shelving the feathers if they had any. And from there, Swinister's able to come right on through and clean up time and time again. It's good to see that they can just continue into roll with the same sort of strategy, get to those entry points. But I really would like to see the Penguins begin to change things up a little bit, see if they get in there, get into the bit of the flow of things. Hopefully now that we've moved into that third round, they've shaked off those nerves. They're ready to come into it. They're ready to come and play. And as you can see, we're back in that preparation phase once again as they're getting into position and putting the deployables and shields out.
So far, from Melbourne's perspective, 2 rounds down on Coastline. Yes, it is an attacker-sided map. A little bit of a synchronized reinforcement there, in case you didn't see it. We like to see that. Nice. But they haven't actually really done too much in terms of adaptation. We've seen some change to the operators board. Obviously, no Mozzie and instead of a Rook now. But we haven't seen anyone playing over by the Aqua Bar. We've seen Goofed come in the same way both rounds now in a row, and not only he hasn't been killed, he has picked up 5 kills across 2 rounds, been largely unpunished for it, and the roam style hasn't really changed. We've seen people down in the same area just being punished by him. So Melbourne are really going to have to switch up the way that they're roaming on this map, which it looks like they finally have now, with Ice Cold down inside of the server room. We also did, I believe, see a Rooney down towards kitchen as well. So they have changed up the areas in which they are roaming. Ed's already dead, though. And that's not the pick you want to lose straight away. Smoke going down early. It's a very big pick for Swinster to find. But again, third round in a row that they found themselves the opener.
As they're continuing to put through as well, you can see Penguins are still trying to hold down, but double kill coming on through from Pew. Nice shot. Just basically cleaning him right on out. And you can see now this seems to be the moment for Swinister to strike once again. Now that they're up 2 members down, you can see they continue to put it through. Pew finds a triple kill on the side here. He's basically a one-man army at this moment in time, continuing to peek through, continuing to push that spear further and deeper into the Penguins as well. As you can see, just on the stairs at the moment, trying to make his way through, but we'll just choose to let it go down at that point in time. As we can see here, finally, we do have a little bit of a turnaround here, but still it's not going to matter in the end. It is going to be up to Ice Cold now to hold out against 5 members strong, and Pew still relatively powerful on that HP as well, but finally they do manage to get goofed at least, and it seems that Ice Cold is now going to try to clutch this one out, but of course he's given away his position. As you can see, a few members from the side there, but when it's got too hard to really get through at this point in time, he's going to get cleaned out.
I mean, they finally killed Goof. That's a positive to take away from that round for UniMelb at least. Goof is now not deathless, which is good. The issue they had that round was there was a glass in the site. Found himself 3 on the hookah window and rappelled right on in and had full site control, which probably isn't the best thing in the world if you're UniMelbourne, but for Swinster, that's obviously great, finding themselves their third and obviously quite chuffed with it. This is another thing I want to highlight as well. We've seen Lion every single round on Coastline so far, bought by Swinster. I'm very upset that it isn't Peepo playing it, because back when I coached their women's team, Peepo was the Lion gamer. She's not tonight, unfortunately, but she's still doing really well either way. She's on the ace. She's making all the necessary holes and pushes and really doing well, I would say, just supporting from the backside. I mean, she still is deathless herself, 3-0. Again, let's highlight, only a single kill for UniMelbourne on the board currently, which is Noodmaster. And I believe Pew is the only person, well, Goofed as well, sorry, only person to die from the enemy team. We'll say that, because Goof technically didn't die to anyone from the enemy team. But he has switched off that Yana, and he's actually bringing the Monty this round for Kitchen. And UniMelbourne finally, 4 rounds in, have decided, guys, look, we can't win hookah at the moment. We're maybe not warmed up on it. Maybe something's not going our way. Let's try a different site. And here we are, finally downstairs on more of the secondary site, Kitchen here. Melbourne are going to try something different, and Swinster already look like they're pretty prepped for it. They have the Monty, they have the Glaz, they have the Lion, they have all the necessary tools to play vertical. Obviously, Peepo has that soft breach in terms of the buck. Swinster really do have a good lineup here, and UniMelbourne definitely should be scared, I think.
And part of it also comes down to the idea of the mind games. You go, hey, you know what? You've been playing hooker this entire time. Maybe it's time that you will do the switch. So as you can see, just sort of taking that out, identifying that they've done it 2 times now, they failed, or sorry, 3 times that they failed on in particular, or maybe 4th time's the charm, they'll finally go for the swap, and sure enough, they do it. So as you can see, just Swinister also taking into account, perhaps reading into games of the past, sort of like finding out what is the time they're going to be swapping these particular sites, when they're going to be making these changes, and taking that to their advantage. And once again, we do see that Swinister are beginning to make their way through, just probing through, throwing through a number of deployables at the same time. But as we can see, Hedge trying to hold down at the moment in the toilets, just to keep everything under wraps and control. Swinister still yet to really pull the trigger and pushing forward in the full breath and go fully deep here.
The Malusi is giving Goofed away now. Bingers is actually going to be getting that bomb down. Here comes the second toxic canister. Goof's going to have to get out or he's going to die, but no, the bomb is being chose to stuck, and that was the wrong choice. As Ed finds 2 with the toxic canister, Pew's there to find 1, though, to at least get a frag back in their favor. However, no 33 will find Peepo. And it's actually looking pretty good for Melbourne here on Kitchen. Swinster haven't managed to find themselves a levy of frags yet. Marshmallow will bolt on in, will spot Smoke out inside of Bathroom, but Ice Cold is there to take him down on the retake into Kitchen, and now it's all up to the Glaz, who so far has been doing a lot of work for Swinster, but he's going to have to find 4 here to be successful in this round. Will retrieve the diffuser, possibly could go for the rotates here. Still does have a relatively large amount of time. A minute left in the round is a lot of time to work with, especially if you are, well, clued in, but he's actually going to hit the rotates. Going towards the Kitchen window here. There is one close by on the left. I do believe that is Ice Cold on that rotate, which is a pretty normal spot to see someone playing in. Will bolt on in. He will spot out the Malusi. Shots will hit. No frag just yet. And there you go. Ice Cold finds himself 2, and UniMelb find themselves their first round here on Coastline.
Yeah, and really nice turnaround as well. And you can see as soon as they finally hit their stride, things completely turn around for the Penguins as well. The moment they just have that little bit of weakness that strikes through for Swinister, the fact that they're able to take that decisive action directly afterwards shows that they're not just out of this round completely or out of this game. They are looking for their ways to find a way to win back into it. And this does mean that we do get a series, which is what I'm excited to see here. I do want to see them, play the full rounds out, actually get through it, not just be a wash coming through for some decent play from Swinister.
I think the call to stick there for Swinster was probably a little bit ill-advised. The smoke, smoke toxic gas does do a fair amount of damage, and Goose was kind of sort of blocked in there by Bingers, which was a shame because Monty is definitely a scary prospect to come up against if you are a defender with no utility to clear out a shield operator. But I mean, the first smoke babe that came out dealt 50 odd damage to Goof, and then the second one that came out, he ultimately killed him. So still had technically one toxic canister to use there, which for me, really, really good smoke play to see there for Penguins. I mean, very well done by Ed specifically to find himself those kills and hold off that push pretty much solo as well, we'd like to highlight, because the only person that was close by was Ice Cold. I believe the rest of the roster was either over towards Sunrise or upstairs or ready for vertical play, and ultimately none of it happened. We did see picks obviously off screen coming out there for Penguins, which really did add up to obviously the double kill as well, sort of culminating them around victory. But Swinster, I'd imagine, are going to learn from their past mistakes and sort of go into this round with a screwed-on head. No Monty being bought. Bingers is bringing back that lion, but we do see Goof back on pretty much his staple Yana so far in this matchup, and pretty much has returned back to normal for Swinster, already looking for control over towards the server room because the bomb site has changed again. Not going upstairs, we're downstairs in the double bar.
Yeah, just looking to perhaps, again, continue to throw things, put a little bit of disarray, see if they can perhaps catch Swinister off guard by changing it around a little bit, as you can see. Just trying to get a little bit more information by throwing out the deployable there just to see what is happening there, perhaps if it's safe to get on in. Yeah, just a few pot shots from the rights here. Nothing really sticking at this moment in time, although Fresh is taking a little bit of chip damage, is down roughly about to that 30% at this point in time, so it does need to be careful here. As we can see, we do have Noob Master just holding down the blue bar for the time being, in a pretty good spot. At the same time, Pew just trying to see if there's a spot that can shoot from the side, and he does find it. That was dirty coming on through with those shots. And already now you can see things beginning to heat up once again with Swinister finding some pretty cute shots and from some what I consider to be ridiculous angles and beginning to get those kills and frags out right off the bat. And now already down to 5-2. I was going to say 5-2. It's now 5-1. They've managed to trade one back at least for the Penguins here. It's up to Fresh to try and hold it down at this point in time. Is managing to find another kill and bring it up, but in the end, it's just going to be too much to deal with. So many attackers coming in from so many different angles.
Peepo cleans it up. Very well done for Swinstar. That shot through the drone hole is disgusting. And I would like to talk to Pew's manager because that is horrible. Not something you want to see happen or something you would wish on your worst enemy. That was filthy through that drone hole. Definitely not expected by Penguins there. And something I don't ever think I've actually seen in any form of Siege that I've ever played. So there you go, a world first for me anyway. Pew, very well done. On the Glaz, especially as I highlighted at the start, not a character that you usually see very far away from ruins on this map, especially when the bomb site is either hookah or that downstairs double bar site, which, I mean, Pew is making it work really well. Entry fragging with Glaz is the new meta, apparently, ladies and gentlemen, and I need to jump on that train because 8-3 playing Glaz, I could get behind that. He's actually top fragging right now for Swinster on Glaz. So I don't really need to say much else because that is amazing. A little bit of damage dealt to Ed there, unfortunately, for some team damage in the site, whether or not that was Fresh. I believe it was Fresh. But either way, a little bit dealt. There's not too much. His game isn't over just yet. Going to be hitting those reinforcements. Doing pretty well so far on the smoke, shutting things down. But they're going to give that bottom floor another go because they are, I believe, probably still a little bit scared to take on hookah, especially going down 3-0 in terms of their hookah wins so far. But Swinster seem to be a little bit vulnerable to Kitchen, so maybe they're holding out for another attempt at Kitchen here before the split. Oh no, this is the last round before the split, so they're actually not going to get another attempt at Kitchen. So this is going to be whether or not we see 5-1 in favour of Swinster, or, well, 4-2. Melbourne could bring it back.
We do have some of the drones just going out for the time being to get a little bit of information. But Melbourne just very quickly just manages to get the kill on the side there. And Goof does get taken out. And this is exactly what you wanted to see from the Penguins. A little bit of a fight back, a little bit of signs of life. Just on the mixture of things. Oh, was it? Oh, shit.
It was a team kill again. Bingers killed Goof for the second time.
Oh no! I was sitting there going like, "Oh, okay, you got the kill off the side." But never mind. A bit unfortunate there, but they have brought it back. It's now a 4 versus 4 on the side here. So as you can see, just trying to punch through the wall for the time being to see if he can get through. We'll throw out a few. We'll throw out a drone just to see what's happening on the side here as well. Again, just collecting information before Swinister do decide to jump in. They've got plenty of time to work with. Still 2 minutes on the clock for the time being. So we can see Pew doing an absolute monstrous work at the moment in time, or in the past, is now beginning to just climb through via the blue bar. As you can see, we do have a little bit of the gas being shot out for the time being as well, so wants to avoid that as if possible. Ed's just trying to shoot up from above just to see if he can get a few shots in from there, just to open up a few extra vantage points.
Pew is deep. He's going to find himself one. Noobmaster will go down. He's been holding sight for a while now, and finally Bingers has made his way in to plant the diffuser, and indeed it is going down. Smoke's come out from Ed to try and deny, but it's too far gone. The bomb's already down. Ice Cold will find Marshmallow, though, to try and retake from above. Has taken out the vertical aspect, so Swinister are going to have 35 seconds to try and hold this down in a 3v3. Looking like they want to push on through. Fresh might be the first person to aggress into the bomb site, but he has sort of pulled back, waiting for Ice Cold, possibly 20 seconds left. They need to make something happen. C4 comes out. It's not quite far enough, though. Pew still is holding behind that blue bar. Will spot Malusi. Will take her down as well for the double on the entry. Fresh will take out Bingers, though. Walking on in. He's going to get taken down by Pew, and Peepo's there to find Ed. Swinister from inside of the bomb site early in the round find themselves 5 before the split. 5-1 in their favor. Now they get to have their crack at defense.
That was just a fantastic way to finish out as well. Getting the bomb diffuser down for the first time in the map. Most of the time it's just been around just swinging across the board for most of these guys, just looking to frag out from time to time again. This time we actually get to see the diffuser go down. And on the flip side as well, the play from Pew towards the end there, just to hold strong, hold that presence of mind, made sure that no one can come through. Basically cleaning out most of that team single-handedly towards the end there was pretty effective play. But as we can see now that we've done the swap around here, a bit of a different change up in terms of what they're looking to do. The Chachinka is now coming in as well, which I find to be a bit interesting as well. I mean, incendiary grenades are pretty damn good in terms of things. So I wasn't something that I haven't had the chance or the, I guess you could say, the benefit of watching a lot recently come into it.
Yeah, Tachanka is an interesting thing to see as opposed to the smoke. But I mean, Pew seems to be a Spetsnaz main, so yeah, it's definitely not going to be an issue for him. He's definitely warmed up with not only Glaz now, but the Lord is going to be being bought as well for the rotates as well, due to the fact that he has received a small buff recently. The DP obviously can now make rotates and all sorts of interesting holes, and as well as the Schumacher now, a little bit better than the mounted turret in my opinion. But hey, some Tachanka OG stands will say that he's trash now, but I beg to differ. However, doesn't matter. Pew is bringing him all the same this round, which is, again, as I said, the replacement for the smoke. So ultimately, Tachanka does the same thing, but just a little bit longer, and I would say a little bit better. You can obviously aim them a little bit more than the smokes. The area of effect isn't quite as large, but I think it is a little bit situational in terms of Tachanka. Smoke is usually the better choice. But I mean, hey, look, Swinister, with 5 rounds under their belt already on the split, they have the ability to sort of play around and try some new things out here if they really wanted to try, spend some time sussing out new ideas. But the first Rotira to come out there from the Flores is going to actually get shot. No mute, no Mozzie being bought by the... Oh, sorry, Mozzie is being bought, but no mute by the defense. So Flores could have a big impact here. It just depends how he's played. But this is what I was talking about. Swinister have that player inside of Accor right now, which Melbourne didn't have. And I think this is going to be a massive issue for Melbourne to clear out if they cannot do it properly.
They are just holding down the line for the time being. No real action coming into it as everyone's just continuing to drive up as much information as possible before making the play into it. You can tell Penguins are trying to find a decent way in as well. Finally, we get some shots coming up on the side here, but Goof will be marked down straight away, essentially, in that defense. So Ice Cold being able to get the shot off first and continuing to push forward as well, looking to drop a bit of a claymore at the same time. As you can see, just trying to get a little bit of extra control off his here. He's just using that drone into a decent effect to see if he can get through safely, if possible. Same time, though, still 4 members need to be taken down by the on Swinister in order for them to actually get something back here. And of course, Penguins quite happy to hold back for the time being. They do manage to find a shot through the wall, which is pretty nice on that side. That means they do finally begin to get a crack into this defense off the backside. And we can see we've got Ward just chilling out here on repelling on the side. He will throw out a bit of a flashbang on the side just to see if he can get something out of it, but no one will be there to actually receive it. And now for the time being, it's just going to be up to the rest of Swinister to somehow clutch out against 3 versus 5.
Well, here comes Peepo all the way up White Stairs. We do have Yana on the drone. Fresh, however, getting off just as Peepo makes her way up. Marshmallow off screen will find Ice Cold, though. So doing their best to try and keep things even. However, the drone possibly there called out Peepo. He sort of turned around looking for her. And indeed, he will see her. A lot of damage dealt, but not a single shot hits from Fresh there. Peepo has made it away with all of her health intact. And Fresh, not so much the same, looking a little bit worse for wear. Now, Maluseed, they know the position of this player inside of luggage, and there we are. Marshmallow with a swing, capitalizes on the utility information and finds himself that frag. But with only 20 seconds left, look at the positioning. We still have Aroma causing issues. The Z pings are there for Peepo. She could swing on round. Ward's not even looking. Noob will find one. There we go. Peepo to take him down. 12 seconds left. Ed needs to sprint towards the site. Noob is going to walk in on the entry here. Will spot out Bingers on the cross. Gives the call to his teammate who's already deep, but the diffuser's nowhere near the bomb site. Ed still has to come along. Peepo's wasting so much time, and no, the diffuser's not going to go down. And Swinster, off of time alone, the bomb didn't even make it to the bomb site. They're going to find themselves their 6th and put us now on match point.
Excellent use of the roamers there as well, just to buy some extra time, throw the Penguins off. Even when they had that man advantage, just a little bit on the ball, they weren't able to find their way in, actually put the diffuser down and force through some plays across. So this is exactly what we expected. A bit of a quick win coming on through from a Swinister off the side of this here, and just continuing to play it out as time goes on. This is going to be that match point now. So let's look to see if there's going to be a way for Penguins to bring it back. I mean, it's going to be one hell of a swing if they're going to make that happen, or if Swinister is going to be able to close it out in this next match.
Penguins are going to need a miracle.
Yeah.
5 rounds.
It's tough.
Unanswered, completely unanswered by Swinster is, look, let's be honest, probably not going to happen, especially on Coastline and the momentum that Swinster have currently got built up. But don't get me wrong, could definitely happen. It's something that we've seen happen before and could happen again today. But the way that Swinster are currently playing Coastline, UniMelb definitely struggling, it seems, just that little bit more than we possibly could see them struggling usually. I mean, things could change on Cafe. This could just be a bad map for them. As I said, this map is really hard to do well. It is very attacker-sided, albeit you need to have a lot of coordination, which unfortunately Penguins just don't look like they have at the moment. They look a little bit flustered. They did really well at the start of that round. They found themselves not only 1, not 2, but 3 huge kills. And then just on time, because it took them so long to find those roamers, didn't get to the site, didn't get the bomb down. They didn't even attempt the plant. He was so close, but so far. And Peepo on the roam, that is what was missing from their defenses. We saw her start the round off in Aqua. She then dropped off, then flanked down luggage, picked up 2, I believe, on the way, or maybe only 1. But either way, a lot of time wasted and forced a lot of utility down in that main lobby, which really did well for Swinster. And it paid off. We saw it pay off. Round victory. What more can you ask for? She's going for the very aggressive swing here. It doesn't find the headshot. But I mean, look, Melbourne do have a lot of leeway to now make up for.
We can see now we are beginning to make our way through into this next map, already taking down at least 40 seconds off that clock, and Penguins don't seem to have any way to get in at the moment, especially as you can see with people just holding down the line. Is going to have someone just crouching down the side, yeah, but no one's really willing to pull the trigger to make their way on through and actually force that out. So a lot of this is going to come down to that waiting game as well. As you can see, people will just throw a few extra shots and drop right on down in the end. Take a few hits for the trouble as well on the side there, but it's still going to be alive nonetheless.
Ice Cold possibly could have found her there if he chose to stick that peak, but didn't quite make it happen. More Goofed finds a lovely headshot, taking down Ice Cold as well. Fresh, losing a lot of his HP. Again, very similarly to when Peepo managed to fight him in luggage, but there we go. Goofed gets the job done and finds that frag. Prone's on in to shoot the Nomad and will make his way into luggage. With Diffuser now down inside of Aqua, they're going to have to play for the, well, regaining firstly, the control of the diffuser, but secondly, they're going to have to find Goof, who's prone on the floor, waiting for someone to come his way. But Pew off screen is going to find 2 with Tachanka and Goofed to take down Ward. Swinister with a flawless round to finish things off. Very, very swift 7-1 in their favor.
Yeah, Penguins looked all right towards the end there. They thought they managed to actually push back Goofed in the process of bringing it around. Like you said, there was a chance to actually find that person if they were actually made a specific swing into it, but unfortunately weren't able to do that. And as soon as the diffuser dropped, they knew exactly what sort of game they were going to play on the side of Swinister. Basically hold that line down, force the Penguins to have to play a bit more aggressive to actually get that return in. And in the end, it was too much for them. And Swinister just looking too strong at the moment for the Penguins.
I mean, highlight for me that match was Pew.
Yeah, that shot. That was filthy.
Glaz and Tachanka, not operators that you usually see someone maining in a competitive game, to say the least, but he did it really well. And I believe only had 1 death, question mark, for that whole sort of altercation between those teams. 8 rounds, 1 death. Super, super big numbers from him. I mean, top fragging. Then we saw obviously Goof with 9, Peepo with 8. Super well done by them as well. Obviously, the supporting characters and the flexing characters, really well done for Swinister. I mean, it was really a cleanup. They were so ready, I believe, for Coastline. I mean, they were just concise, they were clean, they executed really well, and then their defenses were just pretty much, I would say, close to being perfect. They had a lot of good sort of aspects rolled up into one. They had the roams down, they had the rotates down, really, really good. But other than that, very good way to start the night off. 7-1's pretty good for Swinister, but ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cut to a break, and we will be back very soon for game number 2. Don't go anywhere, because when we get back, we're going straight to Cafe Dostoyevsky. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That first game, wow, 7-1 to Swinister, amazingly well done by them. And Mendirx, how did you enjoy your first match here tonight?
That was great across the board. I really liked, again, just some of those dirty shots that we were, just basically graced by and shown by Swinister. So really glad to see that they're giving us things, like you said, even teaching you something, teaching me a little bit as well at the same time. That was a shot that I didn't even think was possible, like you said, through those drone halls, something could come across. So really enjoyed all of the action. But like you said, there's just specific moments that seem to really highlight out there.
Well, we do have some statistics here for that last match, and
Yep.
they are up on the board right now. Kills and deaths, all of that good stuff. Ratings, pretty much all positive on the board of Swinster, minus Marsh and Bingers, who were more of those support characters. But I mean, on entry, goofed, -1. Question mark? How's that happen? I mean, how has that happened? He was entering like a madman, and somehow he's down -1. I need to talk to his manager. That's not right. Someone changed the stats. Also, Bingers has 2 more kills because he killed Goof twice. So let's maybe get that reworked. But
True, exactly. We need to take that into account, right?
Yeah,
it is still technically a kill is a kill, right? It's like that, whenever you watch Fast and the Furious, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, a win's a win, right? Same with kills, right? Doesn't matter if it's a teammate or not, a kill's a kill, all right? So we need to add that to that particular statistic if you're talking to me, okay?
Exactly. But these statistics in the games, ladies and gentlemen, wouldn't be here if it weren't for our sponsors.
True.
AOC, Chatime, Indomie, and Rig, all of them contribute to this lovely, lovely tournament that we all love and enjoy. Even these statistics, even us being here, they all contribute. So thank you very much to them for this tournament. But now, game 2, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be moving into now Cafe Dostoyevsky. A lot more interesting than Coastline, I will say. There is a little bit more strategy involved. Obviously, there is coordination when it comes to Coastline, but it is a very frag-heavy map. Whereas Cafe, you've got a lot more area to clear out. You have a lot more possibility for vertical play, both up and down. You have so many different site setups that you've seen. We've got Pixel, we've got Kitchen, we've got Top Floor, we've got Library, everything. We could bring the map bands back up here just to see the bands, because I'm interested to see what maps we could have seen tonight, as opposed. Oh no, we've got a word that the teams are ready, so we're not going to be looking at the bands.
Who cares about the maps?
Cafe? Who cares about the bands? Let's get right on into it, ladies and gentlemen. Cafe Dostoyevsky here for map number 2 tonight. Again, Swinburne versus UniMelb, aka Swinster versus the Penguins. Let's get right on into it. Mendirx, what are you thinking here for map number 2? Given what you've seen map number 1, how are you feeling going into the second?
It's clear that a little bit of a league higher at the moment. I really would like for the Penguins, now that they've played that first game, they've warmed up, they've got an idea to adapt to that gameplay and to say, okay, this is typically how they're going to come in. They're pretty quick off the bat as soon as they start the action. So hopefully they've got a little bit of extra preparation into it. Wouldn't mind them seeing, perhaps mixing up those bands a little bit as well at the same time. But to be honest, I think Thatcher was the first ban last time. Thatcher being banned out once again is definitely one of those meta operators at the moment that you just need to remove from the board, really.
Yeah, he has a lot more sort of viability on Cafe than he does on Coast. Whereas personally on Coast, I would have liked to see the Lion ban. I think that would have been more beneficial. But Thatcher is obviously going to be a little bit more prominent on Cafe than he is on Coast. So he is going to be pretty standard banning. And indeed he is. Jackal again off the board very early. Roamers again now are going to be allowed. That's Swinster, by the way, banning him again. Both Spaniards, again, should I say, pretty much the same bans. It's going to be whether or not Melbourne want to get rid of Valkyrie and keep the ban pool exactly the same, or are they going to switch things up? Could we see maybe a Cade or a Vigil or something like that? Please don't let the bans be exactly the same. Give us something interesting to talk about other than, yeah, the bans are the same, and let's move on. No Valkyrie. It's Valkyrie. Okay, the bands are the same. Why do we bother? Why do we do the bands? Why don't we just carry it on from last game? That's fine. That's all good. But hey, we're going into Coastline. No, sorry, Cafe, apparently, because the bands are the same. Anyway, same bands.
Yep.
Honestly, they work. They're perfect for Cafe. Honestly, those operators need to be taken out, and indeed they have. But first round here, UniMelb having that crack on defense again. They're going to be going straight for the top floor, which didn't work out for them so good on Coastline. Let's hope the Cafe top floor is a little bit more forgiving for them in terms of obviously winning the bomb site.
Well, I have to wait and see, really, in that sense. We do see a bit of changes here. Jaeger wasn't really played in the last round, so it probably has more advantages. Like, what are the specific advantages of bringing Jaeger in Cafe over Coastline?
Yeah, I mean, Cafe is a different beast completely.
Yeah.
There isn't a sort of a skylight right in the middle that cuts off all rotations. There isn't very sort of sectioned off rooms with only one or two ways in and out. Obviously, there is a lot more verticality. There is so much more maneuverability. And Cafe ultimately is a map that I would say has become more refined by teams in terms of strategy as opposed to Coastline, because Coastline is being changed very soon. So it is going to have to be ultimately completely either relearned or re-strategized on, because it is being changed in quite significant ways, you know, additions and subtractions of things, all sorts of interesting stuff like that. But Cafe's already had its rework, which is very, very good, because I would say this iteration of Cafe is better than the previous. But it does allow a lot more interesting defensive plays. So hopefully the Penguins are a little bit more familiar with Cafe than they are on Coast. Now, we do see Pixel does have those dedicated ADSs for that shield hold, but no shield close by. Whether or not Ed/Noob is still bringing one of those shields over, I do believe we did see Noob just chuck that one up there. So good to see that utility's finally been set up for them. A little bit of a slow setup, but a pretty standard top floor hold right now for the Penguins as Swinister make their way to the roof and look to aggress straight down.
And this is honestly the same strategy they employed as well on Coastline as well. They do like to start from the top and work their way down. And right off the bat, we do see very quickly Ed has been taken off the board as well, which means it's now going to be a 4 versus 5. Swinister having that advantage once again. And seems to be a little bit of a deja vu start coming across for us straight away into the second map. So things looking a little bit different here. They are still being a little bit careful because they haven't exactly delve through right straight away, but they will be able to pick up a double kill off the back of this as well and continue to clear out because Ward is falling down as well, and there goes Meme as well. What?
He's in again. He finds a knife. He then finds an entry with Glaz, by the way. Again, Glaz. And it's now a 5v1. 5v4.
Oh, whoop, there we go. Cold's able to at least get something back onto the board here for them as well. He's now going to have to clutch out against the 2, but as soon as he pops around the corner, there is just immediately taken out. So once again, Swinister off to a very quick start here, and it's really going to be an uphill battle for Penguins to get themselves back into it.
A short-lived fever dream is what I would call that, because it was over in a heartbeat. Penguins didn't even know what happened, I don't think, because Pew was in. How is he getting away with this playing Glaz? That is, I'm genuinely baffled. Who did he knife? How did he knife them? How did this happen? Pew is a monster, apparently, on Glaz. Can we get a Pew cam? I need to see a Pew cam. If he goes to, like, jump in through a window, we just need to watch Pew, because apparently he's the guy getting all the kills for Swinster playing Glaz. You know, usually you'd see an Ash or a Yana or a Zofia picking up all the entries, but no, it's Glaz. I mean, Goof does have 2. We will give him that. He does play his role very well and get his entry picks all the same, but, I mean, wow.
Well, yeah, typically you expect if the Glass was going to be making those shots, it would be, again, like that similar to that idea of making that shot through the peephole, you know, as beforehand, right? Those are the typical shots that you expect to see from a Glass coming out. But for, again, you know, in this case, just to be running right on through, no one really cares at the point of that. Basically, he's, like you said, getting the knives, basically going deep with this particular operator. It's definitely impressive play.
Very, to say the least. I mean, wow is all I really can say. It is amazing to see him pulling that off with Glaz. But I mean, his team really does allow him. We obviously see them pick up some pretty good kills. Ed, notably, finding the smoke of Penguins. I think now that's the 3rd round Ed's died first on defense playing smoke, which is really not good for Penguins because it just immediately takes any sort of AOD that they have off the board. And really puts them in a bad spot to try and deny plant, especially due to the fact that they are only bringing 2 C4s with no Valkyrie and no Pulse. Makes it really hard to land those C4s in very specific spots. First E1D to come out there from line. Goof does hit a nade at top right, though, which pretty good frag to find. And Goof gets a second again onto Ed. Very early, the smoke goes down. Looking for 3 with that nade, but it's not going to connect onto anybody who's waiting to catch it. Ward, fresh and ice cold, are going to have to clutch out a 3v5 again very early on in the first 40 seconds, already put down in the deficit.
still plenty of time to play with as well. 2 minutes into it, so again, they can happily just continue to stroll in a little bit more nonchalantly here. But Ward able to find the kills there, is able to get on through, but will be traded out in the end as well. So now it's going to be down to a 2 versus 4. Swinister continuing to push the ladder and make their way through into this round. Now it's just going to be up to Freshman and Ice Cold. Freshman, of course, is also down on a little bit of HP up against the full HP members here from Swinister. So a lot of different things coming across on the side. Ice Cold just beginning to look through, trying to hold down this cocktail lounge if possible. But again, just with those 2 entry points opened up at this point, he's going to find a few shots there, but still not going to get any extra damage on the side.
Here comes Peepo, the AK-12 in hand, will prove to be fruitful, finds herself Ice Cold, and Fresh now on a sliver of HP left, finally taken down by Goof for 3, does find that third finally. What an angle on top of the chest of drawers there on the couch. Does manage to hit him from downtown there, and Swinister again, 2 rounds. This is looking very much like Coastline. If it is following the same footprints, we'll see Swinister win 1 more, and then UniMelb will win 1 more, and then they won't win anymore. And Swinister will
that's history right now. We're just looking at statistics, right? The statistics don't lie.
Exactly. And if statistics don't lie, Goofed is going to be -1 on entry again. So, I mean, I don't know. But currently he's like, he's +2 in entry.
There we go.
So just don't let it fall, Goof, okay? Don't let it go down. Leave it at that. Let Pew do the entering from now on, because apparently he can do it on Glass. Let him do that. But other than that, really well done from Swinister, to say the least, on Cafe. As we said, history repeating itself so far. Scoreline exactly the same. And, I mean, a couple more kills. Well, actually, they have 1 more kill than they had. They had 1 at this point in the last match. Now they have 2. So they're doing better. They're doubling their efforts on Cafe.
I mean, exactly. Well, you look at statistics, right? Technically, they've improved by 100%. So that's really what we need to take into account here, is the fact that there is incremental improvement from time to time. And honestly, I would love to see the Penguins actually just, break out something unbelievable that really does blow us away in terms of actually with their defense right now, because Swinister really are just completely showing them up at this moment in time. They really do just seem to have every single angle, every single concept of this map pretty much mapped out as they go in for their plans, and their execution seems near flawless, except when they kill their own teammates. That's really the only problem right now. Multiple times, yeah.
Especially when it's only Goofed. But maybe that's just Bingers not being happy with him. Maybe that's why he was -1 on entry. You never know. But here's Pew on the Class. A lot of damage dealt to Ward early on, which an interesting amount of damage dealt. Usually we see this wall reinforced if there is a body inside of Bakery Deep, but interestingly enough, it's not reinforced this time, and he's going to... Oh, there's a rotate there. Okay, interesting. He's going to reinforce that one off very quickly, though. Will be called out. No one's going to choose to try and hit that swing, though. He has been docked back up to 100 HP, because there is a dock on the board from Noob, the first E1D to come out here for the attackers. Swinster are looking like they want full Bakery control, and indeed, they will have it. 4 members, 4 bodies inside of the Bakery now, looking to try and open up that main wall. Ed has called out. They're trying to get rid of his shield, the wall now being opened up as well. Well, it's going to cause a bit of an issue for the smoke. He's going to have to push back to the bomb chassis and try and hold from there. Nade being cooked now by Goof. This could be an issue for Ed. I believe it was AEST. Indeed, it was. Goof needs to get rid of that utility if he wants to throw any more, but it doesn't matter. He's just going to find the head of 2. Goof finds 2 huge kills, looking for 3, but Fresh is there to shut him down. 1 HP left. They do have 1 more dock stim to hand out. Fresh finds a second on 1 HP. 3v3. The bomb now going down. Peepo sticking the plan. It's going to have to be a retake here from the Penguins.
As you can see now, has been put into position. As you can see, looks Swinister is now dropped down another member. Ice Cold gets the Q onto Pew. Looks like Bingers is going to return that onto Ice Cold. So now it's going to be a 2-on-2. Peepo finally getting another shot onto Noobmaster as now it's down to that 1v2. And yep, as soon as it went down, it was pretty much all said and done here. Swinister were able to take control of the chaos, and from that use it as a ladder.
Well, indeed they did climb all the way to a victory. Swinister again, 0-3. I mean, big rounds already for them to find on Cafe, especially when Cafe can be very defender-sided. I would like to say that we see Swinister taking the entirety control of the map, but they really aren't. They're sort of just walking in largely uncontested. They're not taking any vertical. They're not really playing too much utility dump. They're sort of just, well, colloquially
bolting in,
sending it.
Yep.
And it's paying off. I mean, we are going to see the addition of a Legion now from Ice Cold, which is going to stop, well, hope to stop that send. But I mean, this is something that Penguins need to take into account. There is no vertical being played. There isn't really any type of sort of utility largely being used other than hard breach and maybe a couple of grenades / flashbangs. Let's play some trap ops. Let's play some more interesting operators to try and shut down this aggression. Let's get a Capcan. Let's get a Frost. They've bought the Legion out, which is a really good addition for them. A Rooney would even be really good in this situation to try and shut them down. I mean, all of these operators could be huge to slow down the aggression from Swinister, because that's ultimately what they need to do. I mean, Goofed already on 7 frags. If they let them get too much momentum, we could definitely see a 7-0 here.
And that's the big question here. That just, like you said, they're just sending at the moment. Just walking in. It's not really that. Again, there is some tactics being put into play here, but most of it is purely just the mechanics. The fact that they are able to come in, completely frag out directly afterwards, and then from there play the wins. And if it turns out, hey, you know, they're putting up a bit more of a fight, then we'll plant. Then we'll actually do a little bit extra on the side here. And this is just a matter of time really being played out. It means that if they don't actually put up that fight, well, guess what? The round's going to be done by that 2-minute mark, by that 1-minute 30 mark. But you can see there from time to time what they do is they're just quite happy to, like you say, make their way in, throw out their throwables from that point onwards, and then begin to push on through. But this time around, it still looks like it's going to be the exact same thing again. We do see Bingers was able to find number 33 right off the bat. It is going to be now down to a 3 versus 5 as Pew finds Noobmaster.
He's in.
Really showing us again. He's just really on fire with this at the moment in time, getting these shots time and time again.
Well, he's finally shut down. He was almost inside again this round, but he's been taken out, thankfully, by Fresh. He was there to greet him with his rifle in hand. Ed has taken a little bit of damage spotted out by the E1D there. Bingers does have that information to provide for his team, but it isn't going to be enough to net them a frag just yet. Ice Cold will also be spotted out now, rotating back into sight. All 3 currently waiting for the entry here. Pipo has made her way in, and she's going to be able to start getting that bomb down, but no, it's actually in the hand of Bingers this round instead of her, so he's going to have to come and play. They're going to have to hold it down from there. Indeed, the bomb will now start to go down. The toxic canister didn't quite make the distance. It's not going to be able to deny that plan. And Impact to try and open up some sightlines onto the diffuser, but here comes the play from the Legion. 2 big frags, but Bingers is there to find 2 of his own to close it out for Swinister. Could have been huge for Legion there, but he just needed to find a few more, and it would have happened. But no, Swinister, they make the dream work and find themselves a 4th unanswered round.
And even though the result is the exact same scenario, Swinister once again walking away with that round, still we get to see a little bit of fight back from Penguins in that round. Like you said, the addition of that Legion really is actually helping them out in the initial fights. When the chaos ensues, they're able to get a few extra frags in the back pocket behind it. And if they continue to just have those little changes and have those little bits of adaptability come into play, they should be able to at least take a round off Swinister. On the flip side of it, though, Swinister obviously has that ability as well to say, you know what, if you are going to start just changing things around to make sure that we are going to be here just to swing, well, you know, worries, we'll start moving around who we actually decide to pick up as well.
I think a massive issue for Penguins right now is that is the 4th, 5th time we've seen Pew just very close to either being in sight or indeed actually being in sight in the last 2 maps. No damage dealt to him. No one seems to know that he's there. He usually finds himself 1 or 2 frags, if not 3, and then subsequently the round. How are they letting him do this? There has been no direct counter, it seems, really, to his entry style. Hell, we saw him knife someone on the first round on an entry. How is he getting away with it? If you are Penguins, you need to be thinking, where's he coming from? How is he doing this? And it looks like we are actually now seeing some changes in the setup. We do have, it seems, a shield maybe over by Brown Bar, maybe some utility placed over in that direction. Maybe we'll see a body dedicated over there as well. But, I mean, you never know. We're going to have to see how they choose to play it. Swinister now obviously looking for 5, possibly even 6 for that flawless half. It's going to be whether or not they can really pull it off here. They're just going to have to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and make these rounds fall into line.
As you can see, Ed there did see a drone come on through, just doing a few pre-fire shots as well on the side here. Swinister will be able to get at least one of their members taken down in the end. There's 3, number 33 finds Bingers. And we can see here they're going to be a bit of a trade out once again happening here. Pew's going to find Ice Cold. Oof is going to find 33 in the process of this. And just like that, it has swapped into the favor of Swinister when it was just just beforehand, quickly in the hands of Penguin. So was looking good at the start of it, but how things changed so quickly.
This is the direct counter we're talking about. Pew, just how? How does he win that fight? Goyo doesn't pop the shield, doesn't push on back. Noobmaster, Goof just staring at the smoke there. Oh no, Peepo, how have you let this happen? Marshmallow swings around to find two. Ed goes huge. Marshmallow falls. Peepo as well. With Pew, again, now just sitting inside of the bomb side, largely in his own control. Will spot out Cade. Cade's kind of flustered, doesn't know where he is, goes down as well. The PMM in hand, but it doesn't matter. Goofed is on the other side to clean things up. A chaotic round, to say the least, but won, nonetheless, by Swinister.
Yep, and once again, so the idea is how does Pew just keep on getting in? How does he find these moments to just get across here? Because a lot of it's like, yeah, you guys did a good job. You managed to find the first kill. Everything seemed to be in play. Yes, you traded out early, but you had an idea where the enemy was coming from, and then you just lose track of them. And then even then, after the chaos ensues, because you've lost track of a few of those members, they were able to get in from behind you and find those kills afterwards. And just seems to be the same story over and over again for Swinister up against the Penguins. They're just happy to find these shots, and they're going to be having to jump every single time.
Another thing that I've sort of noticed that Swinister are very good at is they're very good at quickly finding refrags, if not trades, back and forth in terms of kills lost. They get the frag, this being Penguins, and then very, very quickly it is either traded out or there is a kill found elsewhere that immediately equalizes the man count. So Penguins don't really ever have an extended period of time where they are up in man count, which I think really hurts them because we've only currently seen them win a single round so far across, what, almost 20 rounds? Well, yeah, not 20 rounds, 15 more close to, but only one round. I mean, that is not a good statistic if you are obviously the Penguins, because Swinister are being allowed to get away with a lot, as I've already highlighted. Pew's just walking into the site. Goofed is finding a lot of very easy entry frags. I mean, even Peepo's getting entry frags and things like that just shouldn't be being got, that should be being held by Penguins. And ultimately, it is really hurting them. But here we go. Finally, some addition on the roam. Ice cold upstairs. There you go. Pew shut down. And now hopefully Penguins can take this and turn it into something great.
Well, we can see Goof now just trying to prone on through. We'll give that barbed wire a bit of a whack, so won't take any too much damage in. That will prompt the toxic canister to proc as well. Does find that and just destroys off the side as well. And just being very controlled on this as well. As you can see, we do see that water also goes down, so 4-on-4, but at least you're slowing down this quick advance from Swinister. Now things change up a little bit. You get them off kilter, and that means you can find opportunities to turn this round around. Well, yeah, pretty much turn it around. Love that particular saying.
Oh, it's around the twist, I guess. But, I mean, Peepo there will find Ward to at least equalize the man count. Super takes a little bit of damage. The nade to come through will be eaten up by an ADS. Now, the addition of Clash here for Penguins could definitely cause an issue for Swinister because they don't have a Nomad, they don't have a Capitao, they have a lot of ADSs up. Goofed is now out of nades, which means they're going to have to get up close and personal if they want to deal with this shielded operator. They do have the calls, but this is where Clash is also good in her own. She's giving comms to her teammates, providing the information on the whereabouts of both Goofed and I believe Bingers, who is also inside of Cafe. And this is really, really good because Goofed can literally do nothing. There is nothing that he can do about Clash currently. There is an ADS there protecting him, and he can just provide all the information in the world for Ed, who is subsequently just waiting for his chance to strike. Ice Cold as well, still upstairs on that roam. Second EE1D here for Swinister to try and slow things down a little bit, take some more control. They need to either find a kill or at least get some control of possibly Connector, maybe even one of the sites we've seen them take control of so quickly in the previous rounds. But some rotates now coming out. We could see a switch up Marshmallow, a lot of HP gone. I mean, Swinister, this is going to be a tough one for them to pull off.
As you can see now, they are beginning to get worn away here. It's probably the first time Swinister's been under any real pressure through these rounds. As you can see now, the timer beginning to choke down as well. Clash walking through that Toxic Canister, taking a bit of damage. I guess he doesn't go through at least one of the shields in some way. But as you can see here, Swinister now down to a 4 versus 3 at this moment in time. Marshmallow on very low HP as well. Now we can see here, Penguins finally beginning to fight back, and it looks like they might be able to get this round. It's up to Marshmallow, and of course Peepo to get something back here as well. As you can see now, they're beginning to push a little bit further, trying to get behind. We'll get the knife from behind. That's one way to deal with a shield that looks on the front and the side there. That is pretty good there from Swinister to find something back. Pipo does take a bit of damage from it. Marshmallow still on a slither of HP. The diffuser has been dropped in the very end here, and in the end, Penguins will be able to triumph and get at least one round off Swinister.
Good positioning from Ed there. Really well cleaned up with the shotgun. The M590, I mean, honestly, a formidable shotgun to come up against, even at that range. Well, at that range, it is its scariest. But I mean, the half 5-1 does really speak for itself. Only one round found there by Penguins. And Swinster really did well. I believe that we saw Kitchen until it was lost, as opposed to, well, we saw the top floor once, and then every other subsequent round, I believe, was Kitchen. So rough gig there for Penguins, but Swinster very well done, to say the least. I mean, 5-1 is still a very good half for Cafe, and now they're going to have their shot at defense as well. So, I mean, if they can defend as well as they can attack on Cafe, we're definitely going to see, again, probably a 7-1 or at least a 7-2. Don't get me wrong. Melbourne could definitely bring this back. We could see them turn up the heat here on attack, but given previous maps that we've seen tonight, namely Coastline, it's going to be tough.
I mean, the other thing to take into account is, I believe you said Cafe is actually a more defender-favored map going into it. And for them to actually just, from back-to-back show us pretty much a similar performance on a map that is now going to be a little bit of a disadvantage really shows what capability Swinister has. As you can see here now already, we're just going into that preparation phase. A little bit more busier, I feel, on the map here for Swinister. It seems to really do understand what's happening around and the particular entry points, the best places to reinforce. And it'd be interesting to see how Penguins do manage to break through these offenses being set up by Swinister.
Now, Swinster are actually opting for a sort of extension downstairs here for a bit more of a roam presence than Melbourne had, which I think really hurt them in their defenses, because Cafe is a map that you really do have to have some roam presence on if you want to waste enough time, because if you do not have that roam presence, or at least some sort of denial down below, something like that, it makes your life a whole lot harder, because they can take site very, very quickly, and then you either lose a lot of frags, too many frags to be recoverable, or, something else goes awry, and then it's just an issue all round. Ed has taken a little bit of damage from Pew, and Pew has very similarly lost about 50% of his own HP here. What is this angle? That is the skylight, ladies and gentlemen. From down below, that is the skylight that we can see. That is disgusting from Goofed. I've never seen that angle. I've seen skylight angles before, but that is horrible. I hope
that is just so much. It's like,
disgusting.
What? That is incredible there. Like, he's just holding that particular line there, and it's just, how do you get in from here? He's doing it. Taking the shots for the time being. He's going to be able to find anything. You can see there's a few members just giving him a little bit of a possible hit marker. Possible, you can tell he's going to find the damage off the back here, so that's something at least. But Goof showing us a little bit of something different, which is good to know. Just a way to actually see that skyline view from... Well, how many floors down was that?
That was 2 floors down from the
skyline. That is just... That's just... Yeah, we just know the spots that we need to break through around the map. That's, yeah,
that's
like
gross.
You said. Oh, well... You can see here now we finally do get a little bit of action. Marshmallow will be able to get the kill onto Ward. And as you can see, just continuing to hold the line here, using the shield for a little bit on the side. We'll see a few other shots come that way, but nothing's going to find the mark. Marshmallow and Pew both low on HP, but it's always better to be low on HP and be able to fight back than to be completely out of the round.
Well, man advantage, as you said, it's definitely favouring Swinster right now, and a little bit of a dance there from Pew as he makes his way back upstairs. I don't know if Goofed is still on that second floor, but I mean, the roam game isn't really going to come into much of an effect now, because there's 35 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen, and they don't have anything open. No freezer control. They don't even really have cigar lounge as Goofed finds himself one. I believe that was a skylight kill.
Oh,
it was. It seems to have been. There we go. Peepo to take down one as well. Ed finds Marshmallow. Ed on 1 HP though. left with Noob as well. They're going to have to find a way into the site as well as 4 kills, which I don't think is going to be largely doable. Pew will be downed, however. The Tachanka fire will deny for a little bit longer, but no more to come out. Will spot the head of one. Ed can't quite land that shot. 5 seconds left. They're going to have to aggress. The smoke's in the way. All the fire and everything in the world. Goof swings on round to hopefully find one to pad the stats, but Ed's there to collect him, and Swinister put themselves again on match point. This is pretty much exactly the same as what we saw on Coastline.
And you can just see the difference as well. The fact that they understand these little vantage points that they can get to be, again, 2 floors down and find a vantage point from the skylight is pretty damn disgusting, as you mentioned before. That's something that we just didn't see from the Penguins. They don't have that very deep map understanding of what they can do there. And you can see how that's also just being an advantage on top of the fact that Swinister just seem to know the maps, the players around, the operators in terms of what they need to do. They really just seem to have Penguins outmatched.
On top of that, Penguins just did not want to give up Kitchen. They really did not want to change up the play at all. They just stuck the site. They did win it in the end. I'll give them that, but it cost them 5 rounds. So I'm just thinking maybe we could have seen a completely different scoreline, having maybe seen them try a middle floor or maybe top again, but maybe they're sites that they're not necessarily comfortable with. But that ultimately has cost them. Now down 6-1 again. They're going to have to win 5 unanswered rounds from Swinister to at least take us to OT. That doesn't even guarantee them a win. It just takes us to overtime, which, again, could not go in their favor. I mean, very, very scary sort of position here to find yourself in if you are a Penguins fan or a Penguin themselves. But Swinister are definitely looking to clean this one up pretty swiftly again.
And it's really, a bit of a question or a debate to, hey, do I stick to one side? Do I swap it up? What's the play here? There's some advantages and disadvantages to both. You get an idea of the pattern of how your opponent's going to play through that map. At the same time, so does your opponent. They get to see where you're typically going to be looking for defenses. And that's probably why we get to see the players like Pew on Glass finding all these different options and openings, because when you get to defend through the same site over and over again, you begin to understand what your opponent's choosing to do and what they're choosing to defend at. So it really is something that, much prefer to see perhaps a bit of change onto those different sites. That way you do throw off your opponents and actually have a little bit of a deviation from your initial plan.
100%, but it has cost them, unfortunately, not having that deviation, and they are paying for it now. Swinister, 6-1. They have wasted 40 seconds. We also do see Marshmallow very deep. It's a bit of toe damage there onto Noob Ward as well. Similarly taking damage off screen. More toe damage onto Noob there for the smoke. FMG 11, which is not something you usually see from a smoke, but Ward's actually being downed outside. He will be able to be revived. Pew couldn't quite get the full kill there, and unfortunately is going to be picked back up. Noob again taking some more of that toe damage. This is fiendish from the Smoke Inside a Cafe. Keep in mind as well, there's been 0 utility thrown at him so far from the Penguins at all. They're yet to throw a single frag. There's the first, or any flashbangs. They need to clear this position out. Will be spotted indeed, and that's going to collect if he can't get away. He's scared for his life, but there you are. The down, not the confirm though, which could possibly lead for them to pick up a few kills. Goofed indeed will swing on in and find Noob. So one of the lower players removed now from the lobby. And the revive to come out here onto Marshmallow as well. Pretty BM. The shield also still stands as well. I mean, that's just really unfortunate for Penguins there, due to the fact that they didn't even benefit a frag and lost one.
It just begs the question as well, why didn't they just throw those grenades in a little bit sooner? Why didn't they just understand that, hey, we know they just throw it in there, instead let themselves get chipped? They're trying to find a different entry. They're trying to, I guess, hold on to some throwables, perhaps have them once they're inside. But to be honest, you just need to get into the actual building first. You have to really put an actual dent into this defense that Swinister's put together. And this is looking like it's going to be a near perfect game for them.
Oh, it was very close to being perfect. Goofed!
That was disgusting.
Huge frags, finishing it off with 2 like that is just completely disrespectful, to say the least. And Swinister, again, 7-1. That is domination, ladies and gentlemen, is what I would call that. Straight up domination. There is no other word that I would use. 14-5 for Goof taking Pew's place, who was very similarly close to those kills last time, and then Pew bringing up that second place with 7. I mean, I'm not even going to say that I'm surprised, because I was expecting it. but very well done all the same. I mean, Swinister on Cafe, a very, very scary beast to say the least.
Yeah, and just the players across the board, they really understood, again, the maps, how they went to move, the game plans going into it. And that's just something they just benefited from. Penguins didn't really have a direction they wanted to make move and clear from it. And Swinister were able to benefit, capitalize every single map or every single round. So pretty good off that sense of things. And well done to Swinister to have such a commanding presence in these first games against Penguin.
I mean, for round 4, we're already seeing play like this. I mean, wow. There's nothing else to say. Swinister really did well. They showed that they have the knowledge, they have the potential to be one of the top contending teams if they continue the way that they did tonight. They played really well together. The chemistry was there. They knew how they wanted to do it. They were clean, concise. There was entries, there was frags, there was refrags, there was positioning, there was all sorts of strategy coming out from them, and it all just culminated up into one big, lovely, well, 2 game
domination.
Wins. Yeah, domination. It was huge. They won both of their games 7-1, and across like a lot, 16 rounds. 2 rounds of those went to Penguins, which that is an unfortunate statistic really for them, because they did try. They got really close to a couple more rounds at least.
Yeah, it's definitely rough, but what I really liked from the Penguins is you can see when they did actually take those rounds away, it was through that mechanics play. They do have the ability to actually take it to Swinister when they are on the same footing, and that's the big thing. You can just tell, okay, cool, we just need to sit back and do our homework, understand what Swinister did well in that pre-preparation that basically made us to always be on the back foot when those engages came into it, and then once we get that under wraps, we should be able to actually be on a much more even footing going forward. So it's just a learning experience. Really.
Speaking of learning, let's have a look at the statistics. Is Goof down at -1 on the entry for this second map, or has he finally made himself positive and then made up for it? There you go, 4 on entry. So technically 3 on entry if you take him back up to 1 from the 0 and carry the 5 and 17. He's positive, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight, which is the end goal ultimately. We do see ice cold positive on entry though for Penguins, which is good because that was an improvement from the last game. Everyone else, I believe, on Swinburne doing very well in terms of entry as well. But I mean, kills again, ratings all from the Swin boys and girls. And girl, very well done. I mean, awesome performance from them tonight. As I said, I can't highlight enough. Really, really well. And just some highlights for me for tonight. I mean, goofed 4K at the end there. I mean, clutches from Pew, the entry, the knives, all very scary things. I mean, Swinburne, as I said, definitely look like a scary team.
Well, especially with just, the knowledge they have of those 2 maps, it really begins to beg the question, hey, what's happening on the other maps when we do actually get to see them? Do they also have a few vantage points that other teams, other players haven't really had the chance to experiment with? Because that there is just pure map knowledge, understanding different ways that you can find advantages through vantage points. And that's something that I honestly think is a value that cannot be overlooked, especially going into those higher levels of play.
Yeah, I mean, even at those higher levels, I think Swinburne are going to do really well. If they keep up what they're doing, they work on maybe a couple of their strats could have some minor changes. I mean, don't get me wrong, Cafe, some of the angles they had alone were just
still nuts.
Like horrible. They were scary, horrible. Oh, I don't want to ever have that done to me. But there you go. This is the current standings. For Group C, Swinister have now taken first place, 10 points, 3 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses, undefeated, ladies and gentlemen, followed up by UTS 2-1, Monash Pearl 1-1-1, UNSW 1-1-1 as well, and unfortunately Penguins are now dealt their second loss with only 1 point to their name. I mean, the scoreboard speaks for itself. Swinister really out here doing well in their group.
Out here to win really as well, and it really makes me interested to see how would Monk UTS actually go up against them as well in the future rounds. Is there going to be again that idea of this being a bit of a competition between them, because again we still need to wait for the rest of the games to play out. Is Swinister really just that much further ahead, or is it really just a matter of no, you know what, these guys really are just one of the big fish in a small pond at the moment?
A small pond it is, but I mean, other than that, there really isn't much else to say. 2-0, both 7-1, Swinister cleaned up. It was domination, very well done. Other than that, I mean, Mendirx, going forward, are you expecting to see what are you expecting to see from possibly Group C and any of the other groups that you've possibly had a look at off screen? What are your thoughts so far?
I think as long as these players are making sure that they do keep on top of the games when they're watching, I mean, they do go back and do their homework in terms of seeing how everyone plays, they will be able to at least take advantage of the fact that, hey, if you look at a team like Swinister, you're taking advantage of those particular vantage points. They understand this is no longer an entry that we can look to do. And I really hope that they understand that these are the particular strategies that are being implemented, because that is some pretty high level stuff. Let's be perfectly honest. So for them to actually open up that far 2 floors down as well really begins to show the level of play that you basically need to be at the benchmark for. So I really hope that we see a lot of benchmarking from the players so they understand what caliber they need to be up to if they're really going to be looking to compete.
Yeah, very well done. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let's have a big thanks to our sponsors, Chatime, Indomie, AOC, and Rig, for bringing all of this tonight to your screens. Thank you very, very much from all of us here at the AEL booth tonight. But other than that, those are our games, ladies and gentlemen, for this evening. A massive 2-0 victory for Swinister Esports. Unfortunately, the Penguins couldn't quite make anything happen, and Swinister are going to walk away with the victory. But that is all from us tonight here. I'd like to thank Mendirx and everybody else on production tonight. And Mendirx, anything else before we go?
No, there's not too much for me to add on the back of it. Just stay safe, make sure you're out there, and keep on fragging.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm Proto. This is Mendirx. See you later.